Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach and I'm going to do some hacking. I can't get around this issue with DispatchProxy, at least with trying to reference it as a package reference and do some funky stuff to try to get it to work. I contacted the person yesterday who wrote this article, and they did admit they forgot this line in the article, which makes sense because otherwise why would you put this include in package flag on there? So I said, okay, put this back in. It puts that DispatchProxy DLL in the NuGet package, but then when I tried to reference it, I got this error, which I'll zoom in on. And you can see it says something about bad image format exception. You can't load the assembly. Reference assembly should not be loaded for execution because this is actually a reference assembly. It's not a implementation assembly. I think that's what this means, because I think what's going on here is that the reason I'm referencing this in the first place is because you need it because it's not part of 2.0 standard proper. Like if I actually remove the reference, then I get errors in my analyzer assembly. So it needs to understand what it is. But by doing that, then trying to do it this way, I think that that assembly itself is actually one that has no implementation. I think that's what it means. There was, during .NET Standard, there was this whole move of .NET Standard libraries are purely reference. So they just forward to their forwarders. There are these type forwarder things, and they forward to what are the real implementations depending upon what runtime you're actually targeting. Now, I could actually go look at this assembly and say, hey, is this what actually it is? It doesn't really matter. The whole thing I started realizing is this is just going to start to become a mess and a nightmare trying to figure this out. And so I got a cup of coffee and I had a drink and I said, wait a minute, can I kind of get around this by not even referencing it in the first place? Now, over there, that's probably doesn't help the issue that I'm running into over there, though I'm still not quite sure what the exact issue is because it's not the same errors that I've been seeing with this package. So there may be other things to investigate, but I thought, you know what, let's try to solve this by coming back to this package and saying, why do I even need DispatchProxy? I think the first thing I'm doing is I'm saying, well, can you actually even load this symbol? Okay, because if you can't load it, then there's no point in actually doing anything with this analyzer. Though to be fair, this type has been around for quite some time. So this really is kind of like a safety check, but so what? DispatchProxy is not going anywhere. And with modern runtimes, it's fine. The second thing is that I'm going to look through and get the symbols here. And so what I'm doing here is I think I'm trying to get the first instance of the create method. If you actually go to create on DispatchProxy, there's actually just one. Okay, fine. So we get that one, we get a create symbol, and then we pass that into our operation example. And then the only thing we do here, if you look at where this is being referenced, is just here on the symbol quality comparator. So what I'm going to do is basically capture the full name here. And then here, all I'm going to do is say, okay, I'm still going to do an operation thing. I'm not going to pass the create symbol in here. And I'm going to basically look at it and say, okay, is the type name on the target method, like what method is it on? Is this static? Is it called create? Does it take no arguments? Does it have a, do all these things to narrow it down to say, is this in all likelihood the create static method from DispatchProxy? And then when I do that, I can completely remove from this analyzer assembly where is that? Right here. I can actually come back down here and just say, get rid of this. just remove it. And then I can remove this. And I can actually, one thing I wanted, I didn't do it here, is I was also going, well, wait a minute, what about documentation? But with an analyzer, you don't really have documentation because those are things that somebody actually is not using. Rocks is a different example because we actually use a type rock create and some types from it. It's one of these weird things. So in any event, I'm babbling. So that's what we're going to do here is we're going to try to get this to be a DispatchProxy less reference thing, and then I can get rid of all this stuff. So to do that, what we're going to do is actually come into the tests here, and I don't care which one it is. Okay. Do not care. But we do care in terms of we need to have, this one. So we need to go back to build debug. Okay. And then we need to come into here and we want to grab that value. And we also want to see what's coming in here. And then we'll take some notes. So let's run this. Okay. So we're here. What is this? This get type by metadata name. Does that actually, it must return null because it must say, hey, we don't know what that is. And then we can just say create. Okay, so this is, let's copy this. I just want to be thorough here. So we're going to do that. And then we know that's not that. And can we actually get into that? Oh, well, we will because it will, yeah, it eventually comes in here. And so then we'll want this just to be create. Okay. Because that's all it should be. And then we come down in here and now we want to say the target method. What we want to do here, we can't do, yeah, I know. We can't do a symbol equality comparator because we no longer have, well, no, we do. Actually, that's okay. I just realized this. This is all we need. Once we have this here, we're grabbing the symbol, and this is just a name of. So you know what? What we can do here is we'll say private const string dispatch proxy full name is equal to, and just to make sure I am doing this right, we're going to do that. Type full name. Okay, so then we're going to come here and we're going to put that here. Yeah, dispatch proxy type full name. Okay, so now we got that. And now we want to say private const string dispatch proxy create name, which is just create. Okay. So now down here, let's get rid of all the breakpoints. And let's do that here where we save ADPG, that, and we're done. Because now that flows into this and we don't have to, there. So now we should be able to, now reflection's gone, and now we should be able to come to here, and we should be able to say we don't need you anymore. And honestly, we don't need this anymore. If I really need it, I can come back and do it, but I don't think I need that anymore. But there was one thing I needed. that was this. So I took that out, but you still need that. And actually one thing I want to do here is say, let's compare with unmodified. Yeah, it's exactly what I used to have. Okay, just wanted to make absolutely sure of that. Okay, so now if I build this, everything should be good because the test one is just a .NET 6 or 7 or whatever update of it. And this is just going to build the package normally. And it succeeded. Good. So now let's run all tests and see what happens. And they pass. That's good. Now let's come over here and let's actually delete this entirely. Okay. Great. So now let's do this and say, no. We actually have to come back here and say release and just make sure that everything builds in release mode and we get all the things that we think we should be getting. That's good. They all pass. Okay, so now let's publish that one again. And we do. So let's come back over to here, this little example thing that we're doing. Let's clean and let's run. And we succeed, and there should be no errors anymore. There should be no errors anymore. Yeah, can you go away? Because that shouldn't be a problem anymore. Fine. You know what? Let's do that. There may be some caching also going on here that it can't get rid of. Yeah, because it shouldn't even be trying to load this anymore. Oh, because that's from the 5.0 version. Okay, so now if we go back to the 5.1 version, let's clean this and let's say build. And now what happens? Do we still get errors? We still do. That doesn't make sense. Could not load type from 5.0. Could not load. Yeah, hold on one second. I think I got some caching issues here and I may need to create a whole new project in and of itself. So hold on one second. Okay, so now I'm really kind of confused because this is actually still giving the same error that we saw before. And this only showed up when I did the try to put that assembly in the package. But if I look at what's out there for 5.1 on my local NuGet feed, it is no longer there. So I don't know why it still thinks it has to need a reference to it. I think there's some odd caching going on. So let me make a class library 2 and let's see if we still get the same issues or not. Hold on. This isn't good. Which it's saying this. It's still giving that. So that's actually interesting. And I am getting the 5.1 version and it's still saying there's an issue with trying to load the reference assembly. That's very disappointing. I'm having the feeling it's because of this. Okay. And this is trying to load it even though it's a reference assembly. I'm still not quite sure why this is a problem. There is a way to potentially get around this. It's still not as pleasant. We want to do a comparison. Like I said, we can basically get rid of this stuff here and then do a comparison here to say like target method dot containing type full name. You know, if that's a dispatch proxy, if the name is equal to, create, if it takes no parameters, is it static? We can do some more things here. So, and that would get rid of trying to even load this all together. And then we're just saying, well, we're just taking what shows up here and only analyzing it from that perspective. But that still gives us problems. If that still gives us issues, then, I'm really not sure what to do at that point. I'm kind of wondering if, because this is the compilation start action, if there's something with this causing an issue when you're having a reference assembly. I don't know. I'm still not quite sure what's exactly going on here, though I think I can get rid of class library too, because it's the same behavior. It still gives the same thing. And like I said, when I looked in our local NuGet feed, it is not referencing that anymore. So let's give that a whirl. That's really the last thing I'm going to do in this episode. So let's just not even comment that stuff out first. Okay. We don't need this. We don't need, whoops, there. Okay. And then we're going to put this up here, but then we're going to say that. Nope. I can't keystroke. There. So now what we want to do is we want to say if target method name is equal to, and we can actually still use some of the things that we did up here. We can say if it's equal to create, okay, and target method name, no, is static, and target method is public. Is that accessors? Declared accessibility equals public, and target method containing type name is equal to, and we can just say here type name DispatchProxy VDPG. So now we're not even going to try to load the type directly from our analyzer. We are purely just looking at, now the only thing here is if that containing type name comes into play and it starts going, no, you can't do that. Okay, so we do want to put a to-do, like I will clean this up, and that what I really want to also do is say things like, and target method containing namespace. But the problem with this is that I have this, I think, in rocks, or do I have it here? Do I have extensions here? I have a syntax no extension. I don't think I put that in this one. I can add this to Transpire, where you basically want to say, give me the full namespace name rather than all the constituent parts. I just want to say, just keep going, like, because you can go containing namespace here, containing namespace, and eventually at some point you get up to like a null or an empty or a global in, and so at that point you just basically want to say, is this equal to system.runtime.dispatchProxy? But this is enough for now. Okay, so let's clean, and while that's going on, let's go into our local NuGet feed and get rid of that one again. Okay, so now let's run all the tests, and they all pass. Okay, let's publish it. And that worked. Let's come back over to here, and let's say clean, run again. Man, that just will not go away, will it? That is really disappointing. See, I said 5.0 here, and it's not, like, it's not giving a different error here. There it goes. Okay, so now it gives us that one. But isn't there like a NuGet packages? If I say Transpire here, yeah, we're caching it, aren't we? 759. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, is that this is not pulling. Like if I come in here, okay, and let me go. Yeah, I was afraid of this. So let's go, and so that's the 5.1, but this is the cached one. Okay. And so, yeah, we still see it there. I have the feeling that's the one it's actually pulling from. So let's delete that. And then what happens if we say 5.1 here? Now what goes on? No warnings. Okay, that's good. That's good. So now let's come in here and let's grab one of the tests here. Okay. And yeah, we're going to have to, I really need to clean up a lot of the stuff in here. So let's do this. Actually, what we can do is just copy that whole thing in here, except we don't need these things. That's for the test stuff. Okay. What are you complaining about here? Oh, that's what's complaining about. It's complaining about our stuff, which is exactly what I want to see. So we've just fixed this. Okay. Not fully. I need to do some extra stuff here. what I'm also wondering is if I can come back here to this and put this back in, because we're not referencing it still, this would actually be better. You know what I mean? Let's copy the if here for now. Let's undo everything we just did. Okay. Come on. Because it would be far simpler if I could actually work with symbols. And let's use that great pattern. There we go. Okay. So what we want to do now as a final thing is we want to come into here, delete it here, but we also, that's the NuGet one, but then we also want to come into our local one and delete it here as well, because we want no remnants around. Okay. So now we're back to where we can actually say build started. Okay. So now we should have a 5.1. Let's publish that. And we do. Let's come back over here to class library. Let's say, yeah, clean. Well, it should be there now. Yeah, it is. Restore. And we get the error. And that goes away. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. So that wasn't the problem. It was that we were using a cached library. That's no longer there. And if we actually go back up to here, now we have this one, but that's from literally when I just did it. So perfect. We have solved this. Now I'll do this off camera. I will clean this up a little bit, though I'm not really sure what else I need to clean up here. At this point, we have exactly what we need, more or less. You know, if we can't load it, doesn't load, and it should, and I can publish this now, but I will do that off camera. Now, again, this doesn't solve my day job problem. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there just yet. It doesn't give the same error, but at least I've now fixed this one here, learned a little bit more, and always complain about analyzer packaging because it's still just, I would just love to be like, you know what, I want to reference that. And I have now said in my head, one of the things I need to learn about is MS Build, NuGet, really just get my head around this, because it's obvious I don't, and I need to understand this far better than what I do. But we have a fix in place. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.